Hi, sixth grade. Um, this video is about your sculpture project, it, inspired by Inca animals or Inca animal effigies. And these are some examples of the sculptures that were done last trimester. Here, let's get a better look at them and I will talk to you about them a little bit. Okay, so this one is the kingfisher. You can see they're all based on this pot that we're making today. Um, this one is a frog. This one is a leopard. Uh, this is the llama. You can't really see its feet, but they're under there. And here we have another frog. Here's a toucan that is wonderful with its head, its feet, and there are wings here. And then this is a lemur. The lemurs were very popular. So now I'm going to show you what these sculptures look like when they're done. And speaking of which, this is a lemur. Kaylee glazed it with an imaginative colors, but you could glaze it with realistic colors. Here is the toucan. This is what it looks like when it's finished. Beautiful. And, oh, well, here we have another lemur that's a little bit more natural. And in real time, here is the llama. Okay, so you can see how that is done. These little marks on the side are called sgraffito, and that's what I listed in the lesson plan when we get to the glazing. You'll be glazing these with greenware after we sculpt them, and then you will be scratching into the glaze to get this effect, extra texture. And then here is a decorative panther, okay, and the same kind of approach can be used to make a jaguar or more of a leopard looking, but this is the cat. All right. So this project begins by rolling out a slab. And I had to go and get another rod. We always use the rods to make sure that the slabs are an even thickness. And the whole idea is to, you can go from one side to the other, but the rolling pin hits the rods, and that's what keeps the clay from being thick in the middle and thin on the edges. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll cut this out. And then we will start building coils on top of this. And what you'll do is, and this is a paper template, which we use often in sculpting. Then I have a bunch of tools in here that I'm using. So write your name on this, and I think it will be best to write it on the edge, because by the time we put the legs on, your name will get covered up. So we'll try, whoops, spelled my name. There we go, okay. All right, so now what you'll do is you're going to score around the edges. And we're using forks as scoring tools. And scoring means making a rough texture in the clay. You need two rough textures to come together with slip to help bond when you do what we call assembly. When you sculpt, the process is either additive or subtractive. So we are building this sculpture, so it's going to be additive. And we're going to use coils to build this. This is called working with slabs, when you roll out pieces and cut them. And then I want you to learn how to use this loop tool to pull coils. So as you see, I just rolled sort of a fat coil, and it should be, you don't have to get the ruler out, it should be about 10 inches long. And then this stays on the table, and you put the tool in sort of up to its little neck, and you just guide it through the clay like this, And if you do it correctly, it should look like a hot dog in a bun. Okay? So pull this out. And then these coils will be rather thick. So what we want to do is on the canvas, just roll them so they're a bit thinner, like that. Okay? Then you have to score here. Put on your slip. It only has to go on one surface, like this. Okay. And then use this is a potter's thumb, and it's a blending tool. So blend on the inside like this, pulling the clay down from the coil, okay, and smoothing it out. You can use your fingers. Then what I would do is pull another coil and add that here. Okay. In the interest of saving time, I already have one that's pre-made. So today, boys and girls, I know that you started with the slab and putting coils on, but you will finish by building a layer of 3 coils today. Now, actually, it does depend on what you're making. Actually, everybody's doing 3 coils. Okay, sometimes we would do 4, but I think 3 is plenty. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to do is put the legs on. If you are making a llama, a monkey, a lemur, a spider monkey, let's see, any sort of a standing. I guess if you wanted to do a jaguar or a panther that was standing, you would do this. Now, we're not going to use the coil puller for the legs, okay? You'll just roll clay out. We want the coils to be thicker for the support, okay? So I would say about 1 inch thick. And they can't be too tall, right? Let's see. With my ruler, I would say the tallest you could go would be 3 inches. Okay, or actually 2.5 looks perfect. So let's do 2.5. Okay. So, and what you want to do is you must be patient, okay, and cut your 4 legs all at the same time. So there's 2. And, you can eyeball it. And this is the maximum height that you can use, all right? If you want shorter legs, you can do that as well. Because I believe here, on my llama, okay, he has just cute little short legs. I'm making the legs a little longer because a lot of the people that did the lemurs wanted the longer legs. So this way I'll have an example of both. All right, so then I do have my name here, and I can see you want to attach the legs on the 4 corners. All right, so, and notice I work sort of like an assembly line. If I'm going to score, I just score everything instead of putting the tool down and picking it up. I'm trying to work efficiently. So there we have this. And you will be able to sculpt, little feet if you want, but that will just come later. Okay, we want to get the basic pieces together before we do all the details. Okay, so I've got the legs on, but now I have to blend with my potter's thumb. Always blend. And try to keep your name visible. If it gets covered up, then try to put it back in. I did pretty well. My name here, Connect, is still showing. And do turn the sculptor as you need it to be turned. Now I do believe I made my legs thick enough that my sculpture should stand without collapsing. Okay, so that's what you want. You want these legs to be thick enough. So now I can keep working. Okay, now in making the lemur or the spider monkey, because that was very popular, that's why I'm doing that as an example. Okay, you want to make a pinch pot to make the head. So the pinch pot is basically, we can't put anything solid into the kiln, so it must be hollow. So take a piece of clay and make something that looks like a meatball. Stick your thumb into it. And then this is not the pinch pot that you made when you were in kindergarten and it got all wobbly all over the place. You're going to squeeze it with your left hand, or your other hand, okay, as you turn it. Okay, there we go. And this is still additive. Okay. Now, picture of my lemur. Oh, here we go. All right, so you can make eyes very simply, and this goes for all the animals with the end of your rod. Okay, and then we have, where's that little tool? Here. Then we have these lovely little wire tools that we can use, and you can draw in the clay. Now this is what we call subtractive or carving. So I'm going to make like a little triangle nose. And the lemurs do have the black, a little funny black fur around their mouths, which makes them look so cute. So I have him smiling. And now I'm going to go back, okay, and roll out a piece of clay to make the ears of the lemur, because they're very important. Okay, and I'm just going to judge this. And you can also use this tool to cut when you want to do finer things. So they have these little like half circle ears that look like this. Okay. And since the ears are supposed to be symmetrical, I'm just going to put this here and cut it out and trace it. Okay. And I'm scoring this, and I'm going to put a little extra detail here. Okay. And I'm going to attach this. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this sculpture, make sure I'm putting it between the front two legs, and I'm going to attach the head on. Like this. Press it gently. I don't want to squish my legs or anything that's going on. And actually, I want the head to be a little bit flatter looking, so I'm going to do that. And it's always best to use your blending tool because that can blend better than your fingers. Okay, and now I will put the ears on. Using my scoring. There we go. Okay, so it is possible. You do not need more than 2 classes to create your sculpture. As you can see, I'm doing it right in front of you. Now, a very important feature of the lemur is the tail, and that's the last thing I have to do. Okay, get this up. And now, for the tail, I can go back to using the coil puller. So you can see there is an abstract quality to these sculptures, all right? They're not like super realistic. We're not going for that. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. And now this time though, with the coil, I am not going to thin it out too much. I'm just going to compress it because I do want this to be, this is really the thickest that you can put, thickest clay that you can put into the kiln. All right, so now I'm going to trim this, and I want to have a curly tail because that's the charm of these animals. I would say the tail should not be longer than 4 inches. So there we go. So that would even go for like if you're doing a leopard or a panther. Yeah. Okay, so I'm putting this on. Okay, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to curl the tail. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is my lemur. Okay, I will make other videos. All right, now this is ready to uh, dry a bit, and then we'll start the glazing process. And I will make some other videos to show you how to make the llama and the birds, the toucan and the macaw, um, and then another to do, I guess, frogs and turtles and maybe sort of miscellaneous animals. Okay, thanks for watching and happy sculpting.